to mention two things. One, Commissioner Gordon is not feeling well today and will not be at our meeting. And Commissioner Rothstein is observing Rosh Hashanah, which, if my phone will cooperate, and I wasn't sure of this. It started at sundown last night. Now I've lost it. And I think it runs through Saturday morning. I think it's a little bit longer than I thought it was. But if I'm incorrect, I apologize, but he is observing that. So back to the three of us here, which we talked earlier this morning. No offense to people not here, but I remember when there were three commissioners. And, you know, but of course, this is a quorum, so we need to be nice to each other or the meeting's not going to be very effective. So, like always, we'd like to start with Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So priority, Carol, I think we start with Commissioner Guerin
I
today.
think so, yes, sir. Good morning, Carroll County. Just a few quick notes, two announcements, really. One, I had the pleasure of attending a fundraising event Tuesday evening down at the Winfield Firehouse, and it was fantastic. And I want to thank the people that put that together. It was a political event, but I think it's worth noting that much of the proceeds are going to the Sheriff's Department in support of their K-9 unit. So to all the people that put that event together Tuesday night, it was fantastic. Probably one of the largest events in recent memory. They sold 175 tickets to that event, so that was quite a success. So congratulations to Mercedes and all her team in putting that together to back the blue. That was the theme of the evening. And secondly, I had the pleasure of attending essentially it was a stop MPRP event at Linganore Farms on Saturday. MPRP being the Maryland Piedmont Reliability Project, i.e., AKA, whatever you want to call it, the power lines and the land grab that we're struggling with right now that's going through Baltimore, Carroll County, and Frederick County, and of course, Carroll County is ground zero for that project. So had the pleasure of attending an event at Linganore Farms to raise money for MPRP. They're extremely active. So is the Wakefield group here in Carroll County. So it's quite a few groups that have come together. Had a pleasure attending that. In attendance as well was Commissioner Gordon. You can see Delegate Chris Tomlinson there. Delegate Jesse Pippy, who's been really instrumental in the fight over there in Frederick County. Neil Parrott, he's running for Congress, District 6, and myself. And later on in the day, they had additional folks showing up, elected officials. Steve McKay, a good friend of mine from Frederick County, was there and spoke as well. So these events take place quite regularly. Check out their website. If you're concerned about this issue, please try to attend an event. I was struck this week when I was reviewing some of that project and the ramifications of it for Carroll County. And it's hard to believe that in 2024, we're in a situation where I think one of the gold standards of our country are in violation or in danger of being violated, and that's taking people's property. I just do not understand how we got to this place, but there's a lot of people in Baltimore, Carroll, and Frederick County who are staring down the barrel of this issue, which is I'm a non-government entity telling them we're going to take your property and we're going to use it for what we want to use it for. I don't know how we got to that point in our history, but let's hope that more people continue to come together to oppose this project. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If we all stick together, we can't lose. And the opposition to this project is growing, fortunately, with elected officials in the state, which I always thought was going to be one of the key parts of being able to defend against this. So again, my thanks to all those folks that were there. There were a lot of people from Carroll County, and thank you. That's it.
In Mount Airy area, there was a brewery fire. Is that connected to the winery, or is that a whole different business? Are you aware of it?
Yeah, interestingly enough, Linganore Farms runs a brewery called Red Shedman, and they're on the winery's property itself, and you actually had to walk by it to get to this event, and it is completely gone. And it was actually still burning. There was still
wow.
smoke coming from it. So, yes, everybody over in Frederick County is mourning the temporary loss of that brewery over at Linganore Farms because it is gone. It looked like there was just nothing left but burned metal. And again, it was still smoking. So,
Thank you. Commissioner Vigliotti.
That was a very short path to get over here today with just the three of us. First of all, I will associate myself with all the comments that Commissioner Guerin has made regarding eminent domain and opposing MPRP. I think he said that very well, and so I certainly want to associate myself with that. I'll also associate myself with comments that Commissioner Kyler made to all of our Jewish brothers and sisters who are celebrating Happy Rosh Hashanah. So just a very couple of quick things. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to get around Tawnytown on Saturday for their annual Harvest Fest, and then over to their History Museum for their Harvest exhibit, which included antique, classic, and historic tractors. And like with cars, the actual terms historic, classic, and antique denote different ages and different time periods of the tractors. Are not terms that you can kind of interchange with each other. And despite the rain, the turnout was incredible at both of the events. And at the History Museum, I did learn something. I did not previously know this, that a lot of machinery that accomplished everyday tasks 100 years ago were designed to be run off of tractor engines and motors because those were the only power sources that farms had back then. And the History Museum that day had an actual historic ice cream maker running off of a tractor engine from 100 years ago making ice cream. That is really, really awesome. Secondly, there are a lot of other awesome autumn events that are coming up here in Carroll County, including at the Farm Museum. These include the Fall Harvest Celebration on October 12th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Fall Flea Market on October 19th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., and the Maryland Crab Cake Festival on October 26th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. More information on these and other awesome events can be found on the Farm Museum's website. And last but not least, I also want to offer my prayers to all of our fellow Americans who have been affected by the hurricane that devastated such a huge part of the South. And my prayers also to all of the first responders who are there doing their best to make a difference in a very difficult time and with a very difficult set of circumstances. I know that there are plenty of ways to donate and plenty of ways to help, so if you are able to help out, please do so, and certainly pray for those whose lives have been forever altered by that storm. And of course, I will also extend my prayers and sympathies with Israel as they continue to fight for their survival. And that's it for me this morning, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a few things. Last week, we met with MDOT, the transportation people, and it was a very productive meeting. Not quite as many people there as we had last year, but some of the jurisdictions got to speak with them, and we got to a lot, and it's nice. We have, I think, a great relationship with the transportation people, and in particular District 7 that we're in, with their district engineer. So it was a good meeting. We had a chamber breakfast that Commissioner Rothstein spoke at, and I thought that was a very good breakfast and some good talk around the room. And then he gave a talk, and he mentioned a lot of the projects going on and updated everybody pretty well with everything in the Eldersburg area. I was on yesterday a virtual meeting with MACO to do a solar update on the bills that look like they're coming in Annapolis this coming session, and it looks depressing. They're working hard to take local control away from everything. They love control, and it looks like. And somebody mentioned, which I didn't mention this morning, PSC, which I wasn't involved, the other commissioners were, with one of the hearings on solar. PSC has now seen 100 cases of taking away control from the counties on solar, community solar projects. They've approved 98. So I don't know where we stand. There's another one coming up Wednesday. I think it's the one on Cape Horn Road and 42 maybe. But there are links, you can testify, we can host, we can co-host. And we're trying to stay active in all of them because I think, as Commissioner Guerin said about the transmission lines, property rights and local control are all important. On 3 personal notes, I'm having a class reunion this afternoon, and it's interesting. We've decided that we'll probably do an event each year at this point in time instead of waiting 5 years between events, and it's great to see the people.
Since Commissioner Rothstein is not here, do I have to make a joke about you coming from the class of 1898?
Yeah, yes, and I did make ice cream 100 years ago with a tractor. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. Went to the first O's playoff game and watched yesterday parts of the playoff game. And the good news is they made the playoffs. The bad news is they're now 0-10 in postseason games, and they just can't quite seem to hit the ball. I think they left 12 people on base, maybe more, in the 2 games, and great defensive games, and neither team seemed to be able to hit the ball much. And then lastly, I want to talk about one of my fellow commissioners. I don't know that I've ever seen Commissioner Vigliotti without a tie. The sun is now out. He claims he's going to mow his grass without a tie. I've asked Frankie the dog, because I just love pets, to take a picture for me. So hopefully I'll see this. But
I'll make a note of it. I'll remind Frankie to get the camera out.
good luck mowing the grass. And speaking of Commissioner Vigliotti, he now wants to talk about Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioner Kyler. Gentlemen, you want to come on down? Good morning to you both.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So I have a proclamation for Cybersecurity Awareness Month, October 2024. Whereas Carroll County recognizes it's a vital role in identifying, protecting, and responding to cyber threats that may have significant impact on our individual and collective security and privacy, and critical infrastructure sectors are increasingly reliant on information systems to support financial services, energy, telecommunications, transportation, utilities, healthcare, and emergency response systems. And the 2024 theme of Cybersecurity Awareness Month is Secure Our World. Even amidst large-scale data breaches and cyber attacks, Cybersecurity Awareness Month reminds everyone that there are easy and effective ways to keep yourself safe online, protect your personal data, and ultimately help secure our world. The 4 top ways to stay safe online are: number 1, use strong passwords and a password manager; number 2, turn on multi-factor authentication; number 3, recognize and report phishing; number 4, update software; and whereas the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, cybersecurity framework has been developed as a free resource to help organizations improve their cybersecurity practices through a practical approach to addressing evolving threats and challenges, and maintaining the security of cyberspace is a shared responsibility in which each of us has a critical role to play, and awareness of computer security essentials will improve the security of Carroll County's information infrastructure and economy. And the federal government of the United States of America, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and the National Cybersecurity Alliance all recognize October as National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Carroll County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October as Cybersecurity Awareness Month and encourage all citizens to visit the KnowBe4 website at knowbe4.com, that is KNOWBE4.com, to learn about cybersecurity and to put that knowledge into practice in their homes, schools, workplaces, and businesses. adopted this third day of October 2024, signed to the entire Board of Carroll County Commissioners. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Commissioners. Mark Ripper, Director of Technology Services, and I have with me today Mr. Sixton Cadell, who is the Network Manager. Our Client Services Manager, Bobby Savaliski, was not able to be with us today because of another appointment, but she is the one who's responsible for the KnowBe4 and providing all the training and that with our systems. And then, of course, we have a staff behind us that is dealing with this stuff every day. It doesn't matter what division they're in, whether they're in programming or geographic information systems and all. They've all got to have cybersecurity at the forefront as they put together applications, as we look at what we're doing and that type of thing. And then, of course, the reason we're here today, the end user is generally the best resource against being attacked. The more they know, the more they understand about ways that they can be attacked. We have that little button that says phishing. If you think we got 17,000 of those. That's how often this stuff happens. So it is a huge number of attempts. They're obviously getting more sophisticated. So we thank you for bringing us here today and continuing to make everyone aware of their responsibilities on a day-to-day basis, not only to protect the county, but to protect themselves. They need to be just as secure when they're dealing with their own personal computers and emails and bank accounts and those types of things. So, Sixton, you want to add anything?
Just like to second that the importance of maintaining vigilance both personally and at work. Threat actors are becoming far more creative, and it's becoming a lot easier to fall victim to these attacks if you're not careful.
And they are getting more and more clever and devious about how it's almost like it's a full-time illegal trade that people
Sure.
are into this.
Yep.
Yes.
Definitely.
So, and our systems, the KnowBe4 is what we use to help train our employees. There's quarterly training that's going on throughout the year, and then this week there'll be training every week, different training session during the month of October. But we do put out phishing attempts on our own employees, and they've become a little more sophisticated. They could look like they're coming from their boss or from Roberta, that type of thing, and people are doing really, really well. We have, if you look at our KnowBe4 score, we're down in the very good range. People have become very aware of this over the last couple of years, and the number of people who click on those emails has been reduced dramatically. So.
Yes, and thank you for all of that, and people need to be aware of this at home and other places also. We have a pretty good, I don't want to jinx anybody, we have pretty good protection here, but you need to be cautious at home and other places also. And thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to do a photo?
Let's do it.
Deb, you can get in the picture if you want. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Commissioner.
Sure, we'll be seeing you.
Yes, thank you.
Take care of that email that you got from Christine.
And now Commissioner Guerin has a
do.
proclamation also.
It is, we are almost to Fire Prevention Week, and I'd like to ask a couple folks to come up. Chief Robinson, Director of Fire and EMS. We've got Rick Baker. By all means, if you'd like to come, Rick Baker, he's the Chair of ESAC. Mike Karolenko is President of the IAF Local 5184, and Mary Stifler, she's Treasurer for CC Visa. So by all means, if you'd like to, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So we've got a proclamation, and then afterwards, I hope somebody can speak to some of the events that'll be going on at the local firehouses for Fire Prevention Week. I know there's a open house at Mount Airy Fire Station tomorrow evening, so hopefully people can stop by and participate in Fire Prevention Week. But we do have a proclamation. Fire Prevention Week takes place next week, October 6th to October 12th. Carroll County is committed to preserving the safety and security of all living in and visiting our county. And fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. And home fires killed more than 2,700 people in the United States in 2022, according to the National Fire Protection Association. And fire departments in the United States responded to 360,000 home fires. Roughly 3 out of 5 fire deaths happen in homes with either no smoke alarms or no working smoke alarms. Working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fires almost in half. And Carroll County residents should install smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each separate sleeping area, and on every level of your home. Smoke alarms sense smoke well before you can, alerting you to danger in the event of fire, in which you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape safely. And residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And residents should make their local smoke alarms meet the needs of all family members, including those who have sensory or physical disabilities, and test smoke alarms at least once a month. And Carroll County's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. Carroll County residents are responsive to public education measures and can take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their own homes. The 2024 Fire Prevention Week theme is smoke alarms, make them work. Pretty simple and basic life-saving message. It serves to remind us of the importance of having smoke alarms in the home. Therefore, we, the Board of Carroll County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October 6th through October 12th of 2024 as Fire Prevention Week throughout Carroll County, and we urge all Carroll Countians to make sure their homes have working smoke alarms and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of Carroll County's fire and emergency services. And again, I want to thank all of you for being here this morning. Chief, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, and thank you, Commissioners, for the proclamation. And again, even though Fire Prevention Week will run October 6th through 12th, we'd like to note that community risk reduction is a 365-day-a-year initiative of the Department of Fire and EMS and all of the member companies of CCVISA. Fire Prevention Week is actually in commemoration of the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, and in 1922, the National Fire Protection Association, of which Carroll County Fire and EMS is a member, began this week, and in 1925, President Calvin Coolidge made it an annual event, and it's actually the longest running public health event in America. This year's theme, Smoke Alarms, Make Them Work for You, is very appropriate. Many of the fire fatalities we have across the nation, and unfortunately in Carroll County, have shown that we have non-working smoke detectors. The current standard for smoke detectors, it used to be every year we would say change your clock, change your battery, but now under the fire codes we're required to have a 10-year sealed smoke detector. So people should be testing their smoke detectors at least monthly, have a fire escape plan, and the other element that's critical to escaping is also having carbon monoxide detectors, which are also required in Maryland under the code. Carbon monoxide is the silent killer, and in about 90% of the fire fatalities that occur, people are dying due to carbon monoxide. And carbon monoxide is very much the silent killer, and things occur in the early stages of fires. We're fortunate in Carroll County in Maryland because many years ago we passed ordinances that required all new dwellings, regardless of single or multi-occupancy, are required to be sprinklered. And actually, if you renovate a house in Carroll County beyond a certain level, you're also required to have fire sprinklers. So we're very fortunate that the majority of properties within the county are protected. And again, we encourage people to check their smoke detectors. We have a number of events that will be going on in the county. In addition, our crews, both career and volunteer, will be visiting the majority of the schools particularly the elementary schools throughout the county, and providing public fire safety education. I know that we have an open house coming up in Mount Airy. We have one next Saturday that will be at Westminster. And if you go to the county website for fire and EMS or to the CCVISA website, the other events will be listed on there. I welcome our partners here today and certainly invite them to make any comments.
Oh, each firehouse also has a website, so their events will be posted on there, the times and what they'll be covering. And, I just want to reiterate, the volunteers are out there also, with the paid crews visiting the elementary schools, some of the daycares and everything. So bringing that education in as young as we can.
And I'd like to just highlight once again, the fire suppression staffing in Carroll County is both career and volunteer, and that partnership, just like every single day, we get to bring over to this process. I'd point out two people that there's so many that we always kind of like reflect on the scripts almost, that these people are so well practiced giving this information every year. Christine Flanagan down at Sykesville, and then Robin Stansberry at Westminster, two names that come to mind. Just with their proficiency from decades of doing these programs, they know how to speak to these younger crowds and really be able to give that. So we're soaking up the lines to be able to use that for sure to our own advantage. But it's awesome to be part of this process. I mean, just go on YouTube real quick and search how fast fires evolve these days. I mean, we live in houses full of solidified petroleum products, essentially. You don't have time to get out. So on top of the fire alarms, sleep with your door shut. Gives you an extra chance in there. And then, just take this stuff seriously. But we love the opportunity to get out there, see everybody, meet all the kids, and once again, partner with the volunteers to get this done again.
Yeah, thank you. Rick, any?
I'm good.
Yeah, good. Yeah. It's really, when you think about it, there's very few things in life that we can actually prevent. But if you have everything squared away in your house, there's really darn good chance you can prevent a fatality in a fire. One thing that, anecdotally, one thing that's frustrated me is every time you go to a department store, a hardware store, the cost of smoke detectors has gone up and up and up. So I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but if people, it's a lot of money. I think I've seen them as high as $30, $40 for just the battery-powered ones. So if people should take personal responsibility and check those smoke detectors right now. But if they have to purchase them and they might need a little bit of help, is there anywhere where they could possibly go to take advantage of something? If I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but if there's a way to do that, people should go ahead and see if there's a possibility they can get some financial help, or maybe there's a discount on them or something like that.
Yes, there are some fire companies that will give away smoke detectors, and again, with the change in price, a lot of that's gone down.
Yeah.
But the efficiency of them now with the 10-year batteries has changed that dynamic. The other thing is in rental properties, and we want to emphasize that because we've got a lot in our individual municipalities, a lot of rental properties, the landlords are absolutely responsible for maintaining those smoke detectors. And should people have an issue, then they can contact either the state fire marshal's office, who serves the county, or through the Department of Public Works inspections and permits. And they can file a complaint, and the landlords will be held accountable to maintain those smoke detectors.
Good point.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, very much. And ladies, thank you very much for coming in this morning and for sharing this with us. And Mr. Karolinka, you'd shared with me some time ago the diminishing amount of time it takes for a house to catch on fire and burn down. And to me, it was staggering to me how quickly it happens. Do you remember the actual time of?
I think I showed you one of those videos at one point.
Right.
If we go back decades, you had more natural fibers throughout the house. Now with all the synthetics that we have there, you could have something that would have taken a whole lot more of a fire load. Now, like one sofa chair can evolve light fire very easily because of the products it's made out of, evolve quickly, can fill that whole compartment to what we call as fully involved or a flashover phase, which is the whole compartment is full of fire within several minutes. So, any kind of opening from that room to another, you're talking about automatic extension. These things evolve quickly, and unfortunately, how our houses are made even comes back to some of the issues that we're seeing there. I mean, even just to bring attention to one more issue that we're trying to address even at the State House, you have CSST tubing through all of it's corrugated stainless steel tubing, or coated stainless steel tubing, I believe it is actually, that is for gas lines throughout your house. If you have a buried tank outside your house for propane, a nearby lightning strike can arc over through the root systems into those tanks, then into your house. It then finds a weak point, it arcs inside the house and creates a small jet of fire inside of a void space that you really can't see. It's unfortunately killed 2 firefighters. Now Captain Laird, I believe battalion chief he got promoted to, and Lieutenant Nate Flynn in Howard County. They both died from CSST fires within the last couple of years. Those are just our engineering, the way the houses are built, everything else, really makes this such a central and eminent threat, really, that we have to take seriously. So, we love be able to have the relationship with the kids, have the exposure to us in our gear, the fire apparatus, spark that love, hopefully, in a few young ones that want to do this when they get older. But at the same time, this is a life safety issue, every way you look at it. And, those videos are, like I said, a quick YouTube search can show you
it's terrifying.
how dangerous.
It is terrifying. And then, Commissioner Guerin's point, to your point, the smoke detectors, having those around. I mean, they make those things so well these days. I leave a pizza in my oven for a minute over the time my smoke alarm is going off. So it's, again, seeing those videos, and I think that's important, Mr. Karolenko. If you do have the opportunity to go online to look at these videos, do go on and look at them, because, I mean, you really see how quickly this happens and how terrifying it is and how quick you have to be able to react when it does happen. So, thank you very much for that.
Yes, and on our website for DFEMS, which is accessible through the county's main website, we have a link to all kinds of fire prevention information, as do the individual volunteer company websites. So,
Awesome.
We're big advocates for that. There's a lot of information out there given technology. And the final thing that I'll say is what's important is, even though fire extinguishers are a good idea to have in the home, very few people get trained on them. So if you have a fire, no matter how small, as Lieutenant Karolenko stated, because of the fact that fires will accelerate rapidly, it's important that people get out of the house. In the recent years of reviewing fatalities in Carroll County, in the majority of cases, there has been a delayed alarm because people tried to fight those fires. So please get out of your house, use your cell phone, go to a neighbor. Don't try to put the fire out. You're not going to be able to do that. Wait for us to get there.
And thank you guys for what you do, and maybe a little bit slightly different slant on this. EMS and fire, obviously a great need for Carroll County. Carroll County, we're in a hybrid system, which you guys mentioned. Probably EMS and fire is the fastest growing in the last 3 years expense that the taxpayers of Carroll County have been funding. And it's necessary, and we need to do it. But at the same time, don't forget the volunteers and the volunteer fire companies, because they are doing a lot of this too, and the equipment. They have a lot of costs. Please don't forget their fundraisers and how important it is to support them. And it's interesting, I probably wasn't totally aware of this a few years back. It's amazing how many individuals are paid people here, and maybe a volunteer here or someplace else, or volunteers here are paid in another jurisdiction. A lot of you people are doing both. It's not only do we have both things going on in Carroll County, a lot of the individuals are doing both, and I don't think people realize that. And I don't know how it's nice when your avocation and your your fun times are both the same thing, but
Well,
man
it's a
people.
passion among our employees as well as our volunteers. There's a lot of crossing over between jurisdictions, and majority of people that get involved in this do so at an early age, and we've got people in their 80s and 90s that are actually very active in the volunteer companies still, doing fundraisers and contributing to the overall system. So our system is very healthy, and we continue to strive to work together and maintain cost-effective fire and EMS to the county citizens.
And that's a good point, and to me, something else, a lot of things I keep learning, hopefully. Been to a couple of different fire companies, and there are some of their events. It is amazing, some of the young volunteers and some of the older volunteers, how many calls they do a year. I mean, ideally, we hope there would never be a call, but there are a lot of calls, and it's a few individuals that seem to be on all of them, and we're blessed.
Yes.
So, a
If I
photo?
could, If I could, Commissioners, but that's getting harder.
Oh,
It's getting harder, and there is, and those young people that are doing it, it's harder to get them to come do it too.
Yeah, yes.
But it's a challenge that we're trying to
it
face.
seems like the things I've visited, and no disrespect to the younger people, but most of them want to ride a fire truck. They're not real interested in EMS, and it's less volunteers in every organization now, but I was surprised that that the vast majority want to ride the fire truck, and that makes the EMS even, and it's hard. We don't have time to talk about it today, but it's even hard to find pay people.
Yes, and we're in a national crisis right now on recruitment and retention, and the issues we have in Carroll County extend across the country. In fact, I'm going to be doing a web podcast for the International Association of Fire Chiefs on Monday with a national panel talking about that issue. So Carroll County's on top of it, as are other departments around us.
And I love all you guys, but I know the two of you have no problem talking. I'm glad you chimed in too. Photo? Picture?
Yes.
What does it say?
It's just somebody that trying to shift this way a little bit, or looks like everything in there balancing it. Doesn't look like there's any impact or anything. It just wants people to have this information.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I knew we'd get
I just didn't know what the whole, I mean, I kept scrolling and like, I'm not sure what the message is.
I don't know if they're actually just pictures, but you can attack pictures.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
There, so, but I'll talk to her, but
So she's looking.
Is the sun really out?
It is out.
She's really looking for.
Out-ish.
Just looking at a very
Should she send it
ominous
to
sky over there. I don't know what's going on. It looks like it's gonna rain or something. I don't
Just
know
out
what's
of
going
caution.
on. You guys can't see out there.
Okay, now we're going to talk about self-help projects for the fall 2024 that the Rec and Parks Advisory has approved, and now we need to.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So I'm here before you this morning to go ahead and approve the Fall 2024 Recreation Park self-help projects. We had 6 Recreation Councils go before the Recreation Parks Advisory Board last Thursday to present their projects for this portion of the self-help projects. And they had 11 projects altogether. They had to actually be present and actually do presentations before the board to their request, and if there's any questions that the board might have, they could respond to it. So the total amount for the projects was $71,925. We still have a balance in there, so we will be able to actually do spring self-help projects, which is, so we'll still have like $55,137 for spring. So I'll be before you again in spring for those projects.
And I'm sorry, I was looking at the projects. How much is left over for spring?
55,000, just a little over
good.
55,000.
So, rec councils will be able to apply new ones
Correct.
and hopefully get in the mix.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to mention, and I'm not sure by the description, but at least two of these relate to school property.
Correct.
Or Francis Scott Key Field Hockey. That, I'm not sure that's on school property, but it's related to the
Well, the one for
school.
FSK, that's at Bark Hill Park.
And I think people need to be reminded, back in the, 70s, the joint use agreement was written, which is now called, I forget, facility use. They've changed the name, but some of the rec councils do a lot of work at school sites, which is why they get high priority in using the sites. But like the North Carroll Middle, that field was, I think, a capital project. And then some self-helps were done there with ball diamond dirt. Now the lights have gotten, technology keeps changing. The lights have gotten old and need repair, and the rec councils are doing that. And then the other point I'd like to make about self-help projects in general, the council all required, the individual councils have to fund some of it. Back in the good old days, they could do a lot of volunteer work and in lieu of dollars, but because of liability, because of a lot of things, I think it's that's probably more limited than it used to be. And so how much of the council funds is it all cash now, or is it some?
85% is funded by the county, up to 25,000 for one particular project, and then the respective rec council would put 15% towards it.
Okay.
Motion to approve the community self-help projects in the total amount of $71,925.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, which involves 2/3 of us today. So I assume we're happy with voting.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
I'm gonna,
Now, contract renewal for GIS software maintenance. I knew we'd see you again.
Should we wait for the other commissioner?
Should we wait?
And before you start, you have a card for public
I
comment?
do, I
Is
do.
it related to a certain item?
No. It's a orphans court.
So general would be at the end?
Yes.
Unless if it's for a specific item, chime in when we get to that item, but otherwise it'd be at the end. Okay, thank you. Please go ahead. I'm done interrupting.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Department of Technology Services, requests your approval to renew the contract for GIS software maintenance with ESRI Incorporated in the amount of $425,000. The yearly installments and terms are subject to approval from the Department of Technology Services and the availability of funds. The current amount is within the FY25 adopted budget.
Morning once again, Commissioners. Today with me I have Mr. Tom Dowd, who is the manager of the Geographic Information Systems area down in Technology Services. This is our standard 3-year contract. You can see a list of agencies who've been using this software. It's been around for quite some time. If you have any specific questions about GIS or the contract itself, Mr. Dowd would be happy to answer them for you.
And a question, as you describe it, does the public have access to this, and how does that work?
Yeah, we have several public-facing applications that are widely used by the public, so, yeah.
And you can access it through the county's website, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Motion to renew the contract for GIS software maintenance with ESRI Incorporated in the amount of $425,000.
second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Now, land acquisition parcels A21 and 25.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning,
Good
Commissioners.
morning.
Okay. The Office of Procurement in cooperation with the Department of Public Work requests your approval to award task orders 11 and 12, the coordination of land services for parcel A21 and 25 appraisals and negotiation services to Delta Airport Consultants, Inc. in the total amount of $112,000. Delta Airport Consultants, Inc. is a term contractor that assists with professional services at Carroll County Regional Airport. The amount is approved in the FY25 budget.
Yeah, Commissioner, so the Carroll County Regional Airport is required by the FAA to maintain land use control of all property inside the current runway protection zone until such time the new runway is operational. These task orders with Delta Airport Consultants will assist the county in the negotiation of land use of the parcels A21 and parcel 25.
And this is part of the airport safety project, and Delta has approved this, and therefore, what percentage is federal, state, and local?
So this is in our existing runway protection zone, so it's not actually part of the.
So it's not part of the
Not
project?
part of the project. However, negotiations of parcel 25 will be 90% covered by the FAA. So that will be $58,500, and the county will be required to pay $6,500 for that. The parcel A21 is 100% county dollars.
Great.
Motion to approve the coordination for land services for parcel A21 and 25, appraisal and negotiation services to Delta Airport Consultants Incorporated in the amount of $112,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and any further discussion or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Without Commissioner Gordon here, who usually does the seconds,
I know, it's, yeah, and if one of them, which I mentioned earlier today, if one of us would decide to leave, we don't have a quorum anymore, so.
That's
We
true.
all need to be nice to each other.
Yeah, exactly. We might actually agree to that.
Now we want to purchase 6 vehicles.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning. The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Fleet Management and Warehouse Operations, requests your approval to purchase 6 Ford Transit T250 high-roof cargo vans from Apple Ford in the amount of $369,684.90. This purchase will be made via Baltimore County contract that was competitively bid. This amount is within the FY25 approved budget.
Commissioners, all 6 of these vehicles being requested for the Bureau facilities.
Motion to approve the purchase of 6 Ford Transit T250 high-roof cargo vans from Apple Ford to the amount of $369,684.90.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Just for the edification of public, so one of these is a replacement, but 5 of them are new because of more staff.
Correct, sir. So the 5 of the 6 are requested to accommodate the positions that the board approved for the Bureau. And that 6th unit is a replacement unit for an existing vehicle in the fleet.
I just made,
So,
we already made the motion.
no more discussion?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now purchase a skid steer.
All right. The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Fleet Management and Warehouse Operations, requests your approval to purchase 1 John Deere 330G skid steer from Jesco Incorporated in the amount of $84,995.84. This purchase will be made using a Sourcewell contract, which was awarded to John Deere Company, which Jesco is an authorized dealer. This amount is within the FY25 approved budget.
And this unit's being requested for use by the Bureau of Utilities. One notable aspect of the request is that it is an addition to the fleet. We are looking to add this piece of equipment to the Bureau of Utilities fleet.
Motion to approve the purchase of one John Deere 330G skid steer from Jesco Incorporated in the amount of $84,995.84.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, a John Deere track loader.
All right. The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Fleet Management and Warehouse Operations, request your approval to purchase one John Deere 755K crawler loader from Jesco Incorporated in the amount of $416,681.61. This purchase will be made using a Sourcewell contract which was awarded to John Deere Company, which Jesco is an authorized dealer. This amount is within the FY25 approved budget.
And this is replacing an existing unit that is used at the county landfill.
Motion to approve the purchase of one John Deere 755K crawler loader from Jesco Incorporated in the amount of $416,681.61.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Now we want to talk about Hickory Lane Water Main Improvement Project.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Utilities, requests your approval to award a contract for the construction of the Water Main Improvement Project in Commissioner District 5 to Geyer Brothers Incorporated of New Enterprise, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $764,180. These improvements were recently advertised for bid on public purchase, and 7 proposals were received. 6 of the proposals were deemed responsive and are summarized in the table below. The bid amount is within the adopted budget.
Gentlemen, Hickory Lane is located within the Freedom Service area, north of Liberty Road and just west of the reservoir. 21 residential properties front the roadway. The scope of work, as per the briefing paper, primarily consists of the replacement of a very aged 8-inch diameter water main. And we will also, while the road is excavated, we will also be taking care of replacing the county portion of the service laterals for each of those properties. The duration of the project is 120 working days. We have not personally had any experience with Geyer Brothers directly, but we understand that per the references, they are a very good firm, and we expect that work to continue with us. Any questions for me?
And all bidders have to be pre-qualified.
Either pre-qualified or qualified as part of the bid process, which was the case for this contract.
Motion to award a contract for the construction of the Hickory Lane Water Main Improvement Project to Geyer Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $764,180.
Second.
A motion, a second. Any further discussion or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now we're going to talk about hiring someone to inspect the project.
All right. The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Utilities, requests your approval to award a contract for the construction inspection services for the Hickory Lane Water Main Project in Commissioner District 5 to JMT Incorporated of Hunt Valley, Maryland, in the not to exceed amount of $61,307. This award will be made via a competitively bid term contract. The bid amount is within the adopted budget.
So gentlemen, as per the briefing paper again, this inspection is on a part-time basis, approximately 5 hours per day. My staff for water projects primarily consists of 5 individuals. We just do not have the manpower to self-inspect these projects. A couple of weeks ago, I presented construction inspection services for the Longleaf Pine project. Our hope is that these will parallel each other as far as construction goes, and we may have the same gentleman inspect both of the sites at the same time parameters, more or less. So the duration of the project is 120 working days, and as Ryan said, it is a not-to-exceed value. So if the work is done early, it'll be less than the stated amount.
Motion to award a contract for construction inspection services for the Hickory Lane Water Main Project to Johnson, Merriman, and Thompson Incorporated in the not-to-exceed amount of $61,307.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now installation of bypass connection at Snowden's Run wastewater pumping station.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Utilities, requests your approval to award a contract for the installation of a bypass connection at Snowden's Run wastewater pumping station in Commissioner District 5 to Mid-Atlantic Utilities of Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $67,990. This award will be made via a competitively bid term contract. The bid amount is within the adopted budget.
Gentlemen, one of the main issues that my wastewater collection staff has is how to work on a pumping station when something is damaged or not functioning properly. The bypass tie-ins will allow us to attach a pump to the pump station and bypass the actual wet well and the pumps and so forth associated with the pumping station. So long-term, it'll pay off in ACES for us as far as cost savings go. The alternative to not having a bypass connection installed is actually pumping the wastewater flow from a manhole structure prior to the pump station and then dumping it into a manhole beyond the pump station. It's a very manpower-oriented procedure.
And does not sound fun either.
Does not sound fun at all.
Motion to award a contract for the installation of a bypass connection at Snowden's Run wastewater pumping station to Mid-Atlantic Utilities Incorporated in the amount of $67,990.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions?
I always try to mention the source of funding for these, because for people listening, it's a lot of money. And my understanding continues to be that it's the funds to pay for these improvements are made from the enterprise fund.
That is
for these
correct.
particular areas. And I think that's important for people to know, so I'll continue to mention that.
100%, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Very good point, Commissioner.
Thanks.
Any further questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, UV light channel system for Runnymede wastewater treatment plant.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Utilities, requests your approval to award a contract for the purchase of a replacement ultraviolet light channel system for the Runnymede wastewater treatment plant in Commissioner District 1 to Hayward Incorporated of Glen Allen, Virginia, in the amount of $33,855. This award will be made via a single source. The bid amount is within the adopted budget.
So the Runnymede wastewater treatment plant was constructed and placed into service in 1992. We've certainly got our money's worth out of the light channel that's in place. UV lights are the last step in the treatment process prior to discharge into the environment. In this case, I believe it's Bear Branch Stream, just north of Runnymede. And Commissioner Gurn, this is funded by the general fund. It's a Board of Ed facility, a public schools facility that the Bureau of Utilities operates and maintains.
Okay.
So this will come out of the general fund.
So a distinction there. Okay, thank you.
And my staff will install the new light channel. This is simply for the cost of the purchase of the light channel.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to award a contract for the purchase of a replacement ultraviolet light channel system for the Runnymede wastewater treatment plant to Hayward Incorporated in the amount of $33,855.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, a similar system for Pleasant Valley wastewater treatment plant.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Utilities, requests your approval to award a contract for the purchase of a replacement ultraviolet light channel system for the Pleasant Valley wastewater treatment plant in Commissioner District 1 to Hayward Incorporated of Glen Allen, Virginia, in the amount of $37,675. This award will be made via single source. The bid amount is within the adopted budget.
The only difference here is this wastewater treatment plant was put in operation in 1991, so the UV light channel is about the same age as the one for Runnymede, and this is paid for by the service, by the enterprise fund itself.
Motion to award a contract for the purchase of a replacement ultraviolet light channel system for the Pleasant Valley wastewater treatment plant to Hayward Incorporated in the amount of $37,675.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And now, last item for you guys. removal and disposal of residuals from Freedom District Water Treatment Plant.
Oh, that should have been changed. The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Utilities, requests your approval to award a contract for the removal and disposal of residuals in the Freedom District Water Treatment Plant in Commissioner District 5 to Denali Water Solutions of Russellville, Arkansas, in the amount of $56,240. This award is being made via a competitively bid term contract. The bid amount is within the adopted budget.
So as far as the water plant goes, one of the first things that we do is remove most of the sediment load from the raw water from the reservoir. That sediment load is transported into what's called a sludge holding pit. We do monthly removals of some of the sludge from that sludge pit, but every 4 or 5 years or so, we completely clean out the entire sludge pit itself. And that is what this item is for. It's our once every 4 or 5 year thorough cleaning aspect.
Motion to award a contract for the removal and disposal of residuals from the Freedom District Water Treatment Plant to Denali Water Solutions in the amount of $56,240.
Second.
Motion and a second. So Denali Water Solutions is out of Arkansas. Do they have something closer that this gets hauled to, or?
They have a local vendor who we work with. And they do have a term contract with the county that was bid, 2 or 3 years ago, I believe, for this service. So.
Other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have public comment in the room. Do we have callers?
Yes, sir, we do have one caller. Would you like to have the person in the room, or would you like to have the person on the phone comment?
We'll do the person in the room first.
Certainly, thank you.
Okay. Andrew Manning?
Okay. Hello. Do I have my little 3-minute thing? Okay.
We'll get it up there.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Good day. I am the official, unofficial mayor of Carroll County. My name is Andrew Manning. Today I'm here to speak to you about the Orphans Court judges. I came here once before and mentioned them briefly, but it was kind of interjected with my opinions of Paul Zimmerman, and I realize that's kind of beating a dead horse at this point. I have a much simpler approach to the matter at hand that I would like to address, but at the same time, I like to whistle to multiple birds with one tune. So just while I'm on the topic of judges and elected officials, I think it's important for the public, especially as the fire department people were up here speaking earlier, and of course that's very humbling to listen to the fire department people that put much more sacrifice into their daily duties than the common man. I think it's important to remind the public, especially younger people, that elected officials, there's no like real school, there's no like course that you have to graduate to become an elected official. Elected officials are elected officials because people pick their name on a piece of paper. Now, obviously, you know, there's a lot more to it than that, but speaking on that, judges in Pacific, I've had the pleasure of dealing with both of the district court judges here in Carroll County, right down the road here. And of course, you know, I went one for traffic court, and the judge appeared to have invested more time in putting on her makeup that day than she did to listening to people speak about their traffic citations. As well, I also had a personal matter. I dealt with a neighbor, and I met the other judge, and I felt like I was a guest on the Sally Jesse Raphael show. So, you know, I say all this to say that anybody can become anything as far as elected government positions go. The only thing you can do is do what I'm doing here and just bring awareness to it. The judge that I'm specifically mentioning today here, I believe her name is Roseanne Barr. I might be wrong on that, but it's the Orphans Court judge, and you know, my time's ticking here, so I'm gonna get right to it. They make $15,000. The Orphans Court judges makes $15,000. Carroll County is not a poor county, it's a rich county. So you're giving somebody a penny in comparison to the grand scheme of things. For instance, Paul Zimmerman makes $140,000. And he is not in control of those orphan court judges. Sure, they pass along things to the orphan court judges, but the orphan court judges get paid $15,000. I don't know what that's being based on, if that's some kind of Maryland statute or something about the pay requirement for them, but $15,000 to basically oversee and have final say-so on millions and millions and millions of dollars when people have disputes, it doesn't mathematically make sense, and that's why she does a poor job, because you have the wrong people in that position of power.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're ready for the caller.
Okay, call. You could use *6 to unmute. You'll have 3 minutes. Please identify yourself. Caller, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm sorry, I had self-muted also. Catherine Adelaide, a member of the Carroll County Republican Central Committee. Good morning, and I appreciate all the comments made during Priority Carroll. Happy Jewish New Year to our Jewish Commissioner and county employees and Carroll County residents. Both Christian and Jewish faiths are under attack these days, so I do appreciate that effort on behalf of the Rosh Hashanah Happy New Year. On to Carroll County election news. We had a great meeting of the Carroll County Republican Central Committee on Thursday, September 26th. Basically had two important votes. We did a final on our candidate mailer, which hopefully you'll be receiving soon. And we also unanimously voted to have our chairman send a letter to the Board of Elections regarding dual control of memory cards. We'd like to see that system get a little tighter for the general election. We're still doing a lot of Trump signs. I'm delivering Trump signs all over Carroll County, I'm happy to say, although I am hearing some rumblings of people afraid to post their Trump signs. I've had 3 of them donated to put where I want them, so I'm concerned about people being afraid to be pro-Trump in Carroll County. I do get comments all the time of when I wear my Trump hat, how brave I am. I said I'm not going to be afraid in Carroll County to be Republican or pro-Trump. Our trailer is open as usual on Saturday from 10 to 1 at the Hagel Shopping Center, so I hope you'll take a chance to visit that. The signs are just going like crazy. Board of Election news, the next big event coming up is a Logic and Accuracy demonstration on Friday, October 11th at 10 a.m. This is a demonstration of the machinery. I was the only person there at the primary. I would love it if one of you would join me for that and see what you think about that. I do thank the commissioners again for stopping the deadlock about who is going to process public information requests regarding video of drop boxes. So that's going to be very helpful. I did have a concern about, Commissioner Kyler, I appreciated your comment last week regarding, the banning of books that miss kind of use of language in Carroll County. I'm glad you're watching that. I did have concerns about what's going on at the Arts Center. It seems that 3 of their 4 Black American Film Festival movies are rated R. They did change Saturday Night Fever from R to PG. My time is up on that. Anyway, I'll send you some more information on that. My concern, of course, people can see R rating and choose not to watch the film. My concern is when Carroll County local tax funds are used to support these institutions like Arts Center, and there's seems to show a bias toward extremely liberal R-rated movies. So I will send you some more information on that. All right, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments?
I have no one else on the phone, sir.
Administrative open, do you guys have anything you want to add to admin open today?
I do have one thing. So I feel like I need to mention this. So everyone who's been watching is aware that Ms. Herbert, president of she is also the president of the Board of Education. She's been bringing by cakes. Well, we joke around a lot up here, but if Ms. Herbert says she's going to do something, she's not joking. So apparently there is a blueberry cheesecake floating around the 3rd floor here someplace in the building, after I had a conversation with her about, well, I'd like a cake too. And she said, well, okay, then it's on the way. And lo and behold, I saw her peek in and that's here someplace. So it's in an undisclosed location on the 3rd floor, and it's currently being protected by a couple staff members. So don't even try. I see some of the looks in the room here. So, but I just feel compelled. I want to thank Ms. Herbert for. I want to thank Ms. Herbert for that cake. So sweet.
Now-
Thank you.
Now, the tradition, which is not mandatory, is that you share. Now, it doesn't sound like you're interested. And it is a very good cake.
You would be
This-
correct, and I think it's actually a cheesecake, which
Well,
makes
I
it
was
all
gonna
the
say,
more.
we got, and I love her granddaughters, I'm not disparaging anyone.
Uh-oh.
We got, prior to this, their second best cake. This is their best cake, so
That's what I've heard.
evidently, you're okay.
Well, President Herbert, wherever you are, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That's all for me.
Anything else?
No, sir.
We ready for agenda review?
Morning, Wanda.
Good morning.
How are you?
Okay.
Okay, Monday, October 7th shows no activities. On Tuesday, Shock Trauma Board of Visitors, Commissioner Rothstein. Ag Center Board Meeting, Commissioner Kyler. On Wednesday, Secretary Day is going to visit Carroll County at 8 a.m. There's a reception here prior to the bus tour. And there's a stakeholder meeting with Secretary Day in the Reagan Room at 1 p.m. I will be here at the 8 a.m. and then I will also, along with every other commissioner, be here at the stakeholder meeting.
I am tentative for that. I'm
You
tentative for that.
cannot?
No, I can't, actually, no, I cannot make that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate.
Farm Museum Board meeting is 9:30 a.m. and that's typically you, but you're going on the bus tour.
Right, I'll be on site with the secretary prior to the, yeah.
Yes,
so.
yes, okay.
Hopefully they won't be too sad without me there. Hopefully.
Habitat for Humanity, that is at 4 p.m. and I will be there. And not on here, and I guess we should, the solar hearing is that evening, and I'm not sure if it's 5, 6, 7 o'clock, what time it's scheduled for, but
I think it was 7 o'clock last time, I
the
think.
last one was 7. So that should be on, and I'm not sure who's going to testify or be part of that.
I'll check my schedule.
I will plan on testifying, but I need to register as well, so.
And at 5:15 is the Carroll Tech Council Digital Exclusion Week, and it's a proclamation that Commissioner Gordon is going to take there. On Thursday, closed admin at 8, open session at 9, priority Carroll, bond authorization resolution, development allowances, discussion of potential legislation, development rights and responsibility agreements, discussion, I think. Item 5, contract renewal emergency notification system, public comment, open session, admin, and agenda review. There will be closed public safety, briefing on public safety communication system at 1 p.m. The Board of County Commissioners will have an open session on solar code. It'll be a work session on solar code. Friday and Saturday show no activities, and Commissioner Kyler has the podcast. Good?
Yes, sir.
Following week, Monday, October 14th is observance of Columbus Day. Tuesday, Planning and Zoning, Commissioner Gordon. Veterans Advisory, Commissioner Gordon and Kyler. Farm Museum Annual Banquet Meeting. And I said Farm Museum, Farm Bureau, I apologize. Commissioners Gordon, Kyler, and Vigliotti. That's at Pleasant Valley Fireman's Building. Wednesday, Mako Initiative Subcommittee meeting, Commissioner Kyler. Mako interim meeting, Commissioner Kyler. Carroll Community College Board of Trustees, Commissioner Kyler. Lineburg Manchester Lions Club, Commissioner Kyler. And at 7 p.m., Commissioner Garen's going to do ESAC. On Thursday, closed admin, followed by open session, Priority Carroll National Community Planning Month proclamation, Child Support Administrative Cooperative Reimbursement Agreement, ethics amendments, and that's essentially to get us in compliance with changes the state made, correct?
Yes, a couple of years ago, the state made changes to the state law, which need to be incorporated into the local ordinances.
And then we'll talk about change of sentence within our administrative plan, housing legislation changes, medical respite update for distillery building, public comment, open admin, agenda review, Friday and Saturday show nothing, and Commissioner Gordon's doing the podcast. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And unless there's further business, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and I think we all agree on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.